I grew up in a great home. Not a lot of God in the home, but no complaints there. But when I kind of started to pave my own way, life before Christ was frankly filled with a lot of violence, a lot of drugs. I joined a motorcycle club when I was 20, and then in that motorcycle club world, you kind of work your way up, and after many years of many varying positions, earning those spots, good, bad, or indifferent, ended up at the very top echelon when it came to outlaw motorcycle gangs. I knew God existed. I was exposed to God in high school. I just never acknowledged his authority. And there's a big difference between believing he exists and acknowledging his authority, I think. End of the day, life before Christ was filled with motorcycles and motorcycle gangs and the lifestyle that goes with all of that. So in that lifestyle, right, and you say when you're prone to violence and stuff, like you do end up catching the attention of law enforcement. I did not love law enforcement then as much as I love law enforcement now, and some of my best friends are law enforcement, so it's another just true path of God's redemption. But towards the end of that, motorcycle career, I guess you could say, in the matter of 6 months, I was able to capture myself 2 different felony charges. One was weapons possession, and that caught me 1 felony charge. And then about 6 months later after that, caught a second, much more serious felony charge where I was facing up to 28 years in jail. That actually is what led me to Christ. So when I was in jail the second time, my bunkie was a guy named Tommy Gunn, and he was in there for double murder, which sounds terrible, but his story was amazing as well. So one day he asked me, because he was pretty important in the pod. He goes, "You coming with me?" And I said, "Probably not," because usually in jail that means something's going down. He turned around and said, "Suit yourself." And he turned around and proceeded to yell to the pod there'd be a Bible study in 15 minutes. And I was like completely floored that was going on in jail, especially from somebody like Tommy. And so he said, "Are you sure?" And I said, "Oh, I'm sure I'm not going to that." And so I kind of sat in my bunk and kind of watched this transpire, and it transpired every couple days. There was one day where Tommy was, he always kind of hooked me up with some of the goods. Broccoli, as gross as it may be, that's a really high commodity when you're in jail, especially fresh broccoli. So anyway, he was handing me some of that, and I looked away, and he's like, "Here you go," and I went to go grab another piece, and it was one of those daily breads, those little daily bread books. And I paused and I said, "Yeah, Tommy, I'm probably not taking that." And he said, "I'll take it." And I said, "I am pretty sure if I take that, it will burn me, in fact." And he kind of laughed and said, "Man, just take it, put it under your pillow." And so I obliged him and put it under my pillow. That little daily bread just drew me to it every day. So I picked it up and started reading it, and I couldn't put it down. It was like the craziest thing in the world. So then I started, looking at how many days were in the book, how many days I knew I was going to have to be in there. You kind of, don't want to run out of stuff to read, right? So I kind of started planning. So I started reading that every day, and it began to change me. And I got out and went to my wife, who was amazing, who stuck with me through all of this, and said, "We need to find a church to go to." We kind of started looking at churches, and I went to the church that I had initially been introduced to God with, and there was a pastor there named Josh Blevins, and I kind of went into that going, I'm going to show these Christians. They're not going to accept me. So I scheduled a meeting with him and my wife, and I sat down with him, and he goes, "Tell me your story." And I laid it out. There was not much that I left out of that story. And I kind of looked at him and sat back and said, "Well, what do you think about that, Josh?" And Josh goes, "Welcome home." And that's when I knew that relationship with Christ was something special. And from that moment on, I stopped just recognizing that he was God, but recognizing his authority in my life. So my encouragement would be, it's not too late, and nothing is beyond the grace and forgiveness of God. And don't try to come to God good enough. Come as you are, and God will make you good enough.